Welcome to another edition of Parks Are for People, brought to you by the LA County Department of Parks and Recreation. I'm Steve Foulger, your host, and we've got a lot in store for you on today's show as summer kicks into gear. You'll be in for some high-speed action as we take you to the Castaic drag boat races. After that, we'll expand your horizons by learning how to play cricket Samoan style. Then we'll be off to the high desert to look in on the Apollo Park Youth Fishing Derby in Lancaster. We'll explore a little Mexican history as we take a look at a Cinco de Mayo festival. And we'll preview the upcoming Queen Mary Open Golf Tournament. But first, let's go to Bonelli Park in San Dimas and check out a little-known but fast-growing sport. Bonelli Park is the site of many types of races. Today, the early morning sun warms the chilly air as competitors ready themselves for yet another day of racing. But this race is somewhat different. Most of it takes place off-road. This is the Bonelli Park Off-Road Biathlon. Contestants must run 2.5 miles, bicycle at least 6 miles, and run another 2.5 miles using the paved roads and unpaved equestrian trails around the park. The running takes place on both dirt paths and paved roads. Runners use the same shoes on dirt that they would on pavement. But for the cycling portion, a very special type of bicycle is needed. This is an all-terrain bicycle, otherwise known as a mountain bike. Built for the most rugged mountain terrain, these bikes are made with an extra thick frame for sturdiness, fat tires for better traction, and special heavy-duty brakes and gears. Only mountain bikes can handle the rigors of off-road bicycle racing. While the bikes are made to challenge the great outdoors, they're only as good as those who ride them. These competitors must also be built of sturdy materials to endure the rough road ahead. The race begins and the contestants start the 2.5-mile run through Bonelli Park. Regardless of whether the competitor is an expert or novice, everyone must run the same distance in the first part of the race. The leader begins the transition from running to cycling with the pack close behind. Once on their mountain bikes, the competitors head for the hills to challenge the high country around Bonelli Park for the 6.5-mile cycling portion of the biathlon. These dirt paths are narrow, winding, and make for treacherous going. Now the skill of the competitor becomes at least as important as the speed at which they're racing. Riders must fight to remain upright against the loose sand, steep hills, and tight turns. On the more positive side, after every exhausting uphill assault is a thrilling downhill descent. When the 6-mile bike trail has been finished, the race splits into 2 parts. For the novice racers, it's time to abandon their mountain bikes and run the last mile on foot. But it's not over for the experts. They must stay on their mountain bikes and complete yet another 6.5-mile loop through the difficult trails around the park. The miles have taken their toll on the novice racers, as these determined individuals make their way toward the finish line. Even though these racers are in the novice group, they'll have traveled over 9 miles when they cross the finish line. At the same time, the experts are starting their changeover from cycling to running. For them, it's another 2.5 miles before they finish. With the race over, we wondered what made these people want to suffer through such an ordeal of willpower.
I don't really know. I'm old enough just to have fun, and I'm not too old to compete, but old enough to have fun, I guess what I should say. I enjoy it very much. I raced the last one here. It was very good. I had a flat this time, slowed me down a little bit.
No, I forgot all about it. I got into it. I didn't enter, but I had to race because I ended up in the middle of a pack of them back on the other side. It's pretty good. I ride down here all the time. Keep myself warmed up. It's not bad. They could have put a few more hill climbs on the other side.
Although the first person to cross the finish line is declared the winner, the off-road biathlon at Bonelli Park proved to be challenging and rewarding for all the participants. bet you know a lot about drag boat racing. You know it's flashy and fun to watch. Well, you're right. As you can see, drag boat racing is everything you thought and more. A lot more. We're going to show you what a lot more means as we take a look at the nuts and bolts behind these high-speed competitions. We're at Castaic Lake for this International Hot Boat Association race, and we'll be seeing some of the world's fastest drag boats reach speeds of over 200 miles per hour. Like any sport, drag boat racing has a language all its own, with key terms used to describe the competition. Keeping this in mind, let's have a lesson on drag boatology. The course is 1/4 mile long, which at 200 miles per hour isn't very much time to incorporate race strategy. The top elapsed time, or ET, averages about 5 seconds. During the course of a race, a number of factors can arise. The boat may develop mechanical problems, which provides the racer with a poor finish. The boats are divided into categories according to their design. The granddaddy of the racing classes is the top fuel hydro, which reaches speeds of over 200 miles per hour. Some of the other classes are blown alcohol hydros and blown gas hydros. During a race, two boats from the same class are paired off. They start together at the holding rope, where the racers are ready on the line. This line is actually about 200 feet from the start. The racers are given a 5-second countdown, during which they approach the starting line. The start is actually a set of red, yellow, and green lights and is called a floating Christmas tree. When the racers reach the start, they should be traveling at close to full speed. The object is to cross the starting line at the same time the light turns green. A racer who red lights or crosses the starting line while the light is still red is disqualified. If the driver feels he cannot win the race, he may elect to click it, or shut off the motor rather than risk damaging the expensive engine. There is some inherent danger in the sport of drag boat racing. Racers sit in front of powerful engines, and unforeseen accidents can happen during the course of any race. Accidents are not common, but if a boat does crash, the driver is most likely to be thrown clear of the debris. Even then, water doesn't provide for a soft landing when the driver is still traveling at high speed. Safety crews are on the lake during all races and can be at the scene of an accident within 10 seconds of a crash. This race was one of many held on lakes operated by the LA County Department of Parks and Recreation. In addition to the races held here at Castaic, Bonelli Park also hosts the International Hot Boat Association's National Championships. And we're happy to report that this is the only time when Parks Are for People is a real drag. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
More and more families are moving closer and closer to our forests. That's why, if you're careless with fire when you go to the forest, you could burn a lot more than trees.
What do bare hands, bare feet, swinging bats, and smiling faces have in common? Pull Adam up and you've got cricket, Samoan style. This is Victoria Park in Carson, where thanks to the LA County Department of Parks and Recreation and the Samoan Cricket Association, the age-old sport of cricket is alive and kicking. Since the association was formed in 1976, the growth of the sport has been creeping along at a steady pace. Today, the league boasts over 1,300 members, with some 20 men's and women's teams. Players come from as far as Seattle to compete in the matches that take place every Saturday from April through September. The French and the English are still feuding over the origin of this game, which at one time was destined to become America's national pastime, until a certain Mr. Doubleday came along and invented baseball. The first official cricket match was recorded as having been played in England in 1728. But there is historical evidence suggesting that cricket was a popular sport as early as 1344. The English, of course, take credit for having originated the game, although the French claim it was an outgrowth of their own croquet, which has even earlier roots. The important thing to remember is that the Samoans are the ones responsible for keeping the game alive here in Southern California. With me is Issei Pataya, founding member of the Samoan Cricket Association. Issei, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
All right.
It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Issei, tell me, how long have the Samoans been playing cricket?
Well, Steve, let me tell you, the English missionary brought the cricket game to the Samoans since 1830. And since that time, the Samoans love it because they have modified the game to their liking, to their culture, and the way they entertain themselves. They found out cricket is very helpful to get them together as a bond.
At first glance, cricket seems a lot like baseball. After all, there's batting, pitching, running, and catching. But appearances are deceiving. For example, there's no such thing as 3 strikes and you're out, and there are no foul balls. Literally, this is baseball in the round, and there can be twice as many players on the field. We forgot to mention, there's only 1 inning. Strange when you consider cricket matches have been known to last 3 days, with scores of over 199 to 198. The Samoans have modified the rules to speed up the game. This is the wicket, and this is the batter's line. The batter must keep his foot on the batter's line as he swings at the ball. Otherwise, he's out. Or the pitcher, called the bowler, can strike the wicket with the ball to get the batter out. In cricket, each team bats only once. There's a pitcher and a batter at each end of the run. The pitchers, who are both on the same team, each pitch to the opposing team's batters. Like baseball, the batter can fly out or ground out if he chooses to run on his hit. A batter doesn't have to run on a ground ball if he doesn't think he can make it, which is why a game can go so long. If he does run, his team member who is batting at the other end must also run. They pass each other as they try to reach opposite ends before the ball is relayed to the catcher. The catcher must tag the wicket or the batter in order to get the batter out. Issei, I want to thank you guys and the team for a really great day! Spring is a time for love, but more importantly, it's also a time for catching fish. Last year, over 20 times more people applied for fishing licenses than marriage licenses. Does this mean fishing is more popular than marriage? But even if you are married, you should consider one of the 13 lakes operated by the Department of Parks and Recreation that are open for fishing. These lakes include Bonelli, Castaic, and Whittier Narrows, to name a few, but all offer fine fishing. These lakes are well used. Bonelli Park in San Dimas is extremely popular with the local fishermen. The lake plays host to over 500,000 anglers a year. It's also a good lake to visit for the non-fishermen, with many picnic, riding, and boating facilities. Fishermen looking for more elbow room find it at Castaic Lake. With over 2,200 square acres, there's room for fishing, swimming, sailing, jet skiing, and windsurfing. For the landlubber, there are 8,000 acres of park space around the lake full of recreational opportunities. Leg Lake at Whittier Narrows is a beautiful lake in the urban setting of South El Monte. This gives the local fisherman or park patron a chance to escape the city without having to travel far. Along with operating these lakes, the Department of Parks and Recreation also operates such unique lakes as those found here at Apollo Park in Lancaster. Named after the Apollo space program, the park includes 3 lakes in honor of the men of the first moon landing. There is Lake Aldrin, Lake Collins, and Lake Armstrong. Like an oasis, Apollo Park is a sparkle of green plants and open water right in the middle of the desert. Not that this is a concern with these young people here today. After all, they have bigger fish to fry. This is the scene here at the Apollo Park Youth Fishing Derby. No, it's not a contest where young fish race around the lake. Actually, it's an opportunity for these young people to outfish one another. The Apollo Park Fishing Derby is a contest for young people to practice and demonstrate their fishing skills. Winners of the contest are those who catch the biggest fish in the 3.5-hour time limit. The event is open to kids between the ages of 5 and 15. The Derby is designed to give the kids a chance to experience the joys and frustrations that can only be found in the sport of fishing. We talked to some of these young anglers to find out just who is top fish. What do you got there?
A fish.
Well, looks like a fish to me. What kind of fish is it?
Rainbow trout.
Rainbow trout. And can you tell me how much they weigh?
The biggest one here weighs 1.5, and this one right here, I don't know how much it weighs. 5.5.
What kind of bait did you use?
A gold lure. Castmaster.
Bassmasters.
Worms.
Worms. The Apollo Park Youth Fishing Derby is the largest single free event in the Palmdale and Lancaster areas. This year, thousands of kids participated, and that's no fish story. Stay with us. Parks Are for People will be right back.
Please volunteer for the American Red Cross.
This is a Cinco de Mayo celebration, but that's not really how Cinco de Mayo began. In July of 1861, the president of Mexico, Benito Juarez, declared that his country could not pay its foreign debts. In 1862, France, England, and Spain sent warships to the port of Veracruz in an effort to force Mexico to pay. Once the warships reached Mexico, France and Spain decided that negotiating was a better approach to solving the problem than using a show of strength. France did not agree with this diplomatic attitude, and under orders from Napoleon proceeded to invade Mexico. 10,000 French troops landed at Veracruz and marched to the city of Puebla. But the Mexican people were ready to defend their country. On Cinco de Mayo, or the 5th of May in 1862, Mexican soldiers and civilians defeated the French army. This year's celebration marks the 125th anniversary of the famous battle. The Cinco de Mayo celebration is one of the most significant dates in Mexican history, second only to Mexican Independence Day. This Cinco de Mayo celebration was at the Whittier Quad. The day was rich in culture, and leading the list of entertainers were, of course, mariachis, and ballet folklorico. Children are an important aspect of the Cinco de Mayo celebration, as it passes on the culture of their heritage. The Patio de los Niños was a lively place with carnival rides, face painting, a puppet theater, tortilla making, and crafts where kids are taught how to create traditional art. I'm standing here with the Department of Parks and Recreation's official mascot. I'd like to introduce you to Ranger Raccoon. This Cinco de Mayo street fiesta was once again a huge success. Aside from enjoying the history of Cinco de Mayo, the celebration is also a great way to become acquainted with the traditions of Mexico and its people. Coming up on August 18th through the 23rd at the Lakewood Country Club is the annual Queen Mary Open Golf Tournament. The tournament is hosted by the Long Beach Exchange Club, with proceeds going toward the prevention of child abuse. The Lakewood Country Club provides an excellent setting for championship tournaments, and the Queen Mary Open is in its 16th year. This year's purse totals over $75,000.
Come on, come on, come on.
Most of these professional golfers play on the Golden State Circuit. Many have gone on to the PGA Tour. After 4 days of tournament play, the leaders approached the final hole.
Go, go.
The winner was Jeff Wilson of Vallejo, California. Jeff finished at 273, a record for the Queen Mary Open, and was presented with a check for $12,000.
The world's a different place where life's become a race. And unlike the world of past, our kids grow up too fast.
Cause what they see in store is threats of bombs and war. And that deadly game they're taught, the happiness is bought.
So the children of today haven't time for child's play. They feel they're all alone, even strangers in their home. So to hide their pain and tears, they destroy their youthful years by giving up on love and hugs and escaping into drugs. And if we say that we won't help cause the problem isn't mine, then it's more than just a shame. Our lack of caring is a crime. Dare to keep a kid off drugs, dare to keep a kid off dope, dare to give a kid some help, dare to give a kid some hope. Help us, we really need your help. You gotta help us.
Well, that wraps up today's show, but we'd like to tell you about a few upcoming events for the month of August. On August 15th, Castaic Lake will be hosting a bass fishing tournament, and the All-County Swim and Dive Championships will be at El Carrizo Pool on August 22nd. And don't forget the Queen Mary Open Golf Tournament at Lakewood Country Club, August 20th through the 24th. If you have any questions about today's show, give us a call downtown at area code 213-738-3034. Come on out and take advantage of your county parks. I'm Steve Foulger. Join us again next time for more great recreation on Parks Are for People.